Okay, this is lesson 5.5, and these are our 4 do now problems. You can find them on page 294 of your book, or you can go ahead and pause this page right here and look at the problems, do them, and then resume the video. We'll go over them together. Okay, so the first one, it says 3 of the following statements are true. Which one is not true? This one says that 6 is less than the absolute value of 3. The absolute value of 3 is 3, and 3 is less than 6. So this one is not correct. All right, number 4. It says Mayakai can type 135 words in 3 minutes. How many words can she expect to type in 8 minutes? So 135 in 3 minutes. So we can go ahead and find the unit rate by dividing by 3. Right? So we can find how many in 1 minute, and then we will multiply that to see how many in 8 minutes. So first we're going to divide by 3 to get that bottom number to 1 minute. When we divide this by 3, 3 will fit into 12 4 times with 1 left over. Then that 1 would go in front of the 5, so it'll be 3 into 15. So 45 words per minute. And we need to see how many in 8 minutes, so we're going to multiply the numerator and denominator by 8. 45 times 8 is 360 words in 8 minutes. So 360 words. What's this percent here that's modeled? There's 6 rows and then 3 hundredths, so 63%. Then it says about 3/5 of the students at Roosevelt Elementary School live within 1 mile of the school. What percent of the students live within 1 mile of the school? So it's 3/5 of the students. 3/5. So we have to see what would 3/5 be as a percent. So we're going to make the bottom number into 100. I know that 5 times 20 is 100. So 3 times 20 is 60. 60 100ths is the same as 60%. Okay. On this page, we're going to be working on mental math to find a percent of a number. We started this the other day. We were doing 10% and then doubling it. This one we're going to find 1% and then we are going to multiply by the percentage. So it's just another way of finding the percent so you can do it in your head if you're at the grocery store. I'm going to pause this, have you pause this here and write this down. I'll talk about it. Pause it at some point. Make sure you have this in your notes. I won't make you write down anything else today on today's lesson. This is it. This is it for your notes. There are no do together problems. We do, you do. I'm just going to do problems and have you watch me, but I do want this one in your notes. So if you are trying to do mental math and you do 12% of 60, first, if you find 1% of 60, we could multiply it by 12 and find out what that amount would be. So 1% as a decimal is 0.01. So that would be like 60. 60 times 1 is just going to be 60, but you have 2 numbers behind the decimal. So that tells you move this 2 spots. So 0.6 would be 1% of 60. That's where I get this 0.6 right here. Okay, you want to write this all down. It says, I think 1 times 60 is 60. There are 2 digits behind the decimal, so move the decimal 2 spots to the left. I would like you to have that somewhere in your notes so you can look back at it. So here we have 12, because it's 12%, not 1%. We're multiplying the 6.6 by 12, and we get 720. And that is a way to find 12% of 60. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to read through some problems and talk you through how to do them. I'm going to do about 3 problems with you. I do want to read this first one because you'll see some that will look like this in your assignment today. The recommended daily amount of protein is 50 grams. 1 super protein cereal bar contains 16% of that amount of protein. If Stefan eats 1 super protein cereal bar per day, how much protein will he need to get from other sources to meet the recommended daily amount? Use the graphic organizer to help you solve the problem. So what do you need to find? You need to find how many grams of protein does he need from other sources. All right, so that's a complicated question. It's not just taking 16% of 50. to tell what the number is, we need to know how many from other sources. So what information do I need to use? The important information is that the bar contains 16% of 50 grams, so 16% of that. So we're going to find that 16% and then we're going to subtract it from 50 to find out how much he would need from other sources. So I'm going to write my percent as a decimal, do 50 times 0.16. So I get 8. So he gets 8 grams of his daily amount from this bar that he eats. So he gets 8 grams, but he needs 50 grams. So 50 minus 8 will give you 42 grams. That is the amount he still needs to get. So how will I use the information here, this 8 that I came up with? To find 16% of 50, I then subtract the amount from 50, and that's what I did here. I took away the 8 grams that he ate using that protein bar. This is how much he still needs to get his full daily amount of protein. All right, this side. All right, now these I just want you to watch and think through as I do them with you. This one says, Jordan takes 50% of the cherries from the bowl. And this one I can guarantee is on the assignment today. And it's a little bit complicated because you have to work backwards. Jordan takes 50% of cherries from the bowl. So we have a bowl of cherries. Then Mia takes 50% of the remaining cherries. Finally, Greg takes 50% of those remaining cherries. There are 3 cherries left. How many cherries were in the bowl before Jordan arrived? So we're going to work backwards. If there's 3 cherries in the bowl, when after Greg takes 50%, 50% is half of whatever is there. 50% is always half. So if there was 6 cherries there and he took half of them, there would be 3 left. And it's saying here he took half. So before Greg took his, there were 6 cherries, double the amount that's now in the bowl. Then we have Mai, I don't know how to pronounce that name, Miai. He took 50% of these cherries. So there's only 6 left now. He took half of them before he took them, there would be 12. So now we have 12 cherries. But we still have Jordan, who took 50% before this amount. And so 12 plus 12 is 24. They started with 24 cherries. Now you're probably wondering, what does that have to do with math and percentages? It's really important that you know that 50% is half of something. It's important that you have some benchmark percentages in your mind that you actually understand what that means. So 25% is a quarter of something, or 1/4. 75% is 3/4. Or 3/4. Okay. All right. So this one says, each week, Tasha saves 65% of the money she earns babysitting and she spends the rest. This week, she earned $40. How much more money did she save than spend? So this tells us how much more. That somewhere in there, we're going to need to subtract. So my first step is to find out how much that money she earns babysitting. Okay, wait, 65% of the money she earns babysitting. So she earned $40. Let's put that over here. And she's going to she's going to save 65%. So let's find out how much she saved. And then we get 24. I'm going to add those together. Just a minute. Here we have 2 digits behind the decimal, so we move our 2 digits over. We get $26 is the amount of money she saved out of $40. So she started with $40. She saves 26. Let's see how many she has left here. And she spends 14. Right? Because if you have a total amount of money like the $40, if you know you're saving $26 of it, you'll know how much you get to spend because 26 plus 14 will equal your 40 that you had to begin with. But the question is asking us how much more money did she save than she spent? And in order to figure that out, you are going to need to subtract again. The amount she saves minus the amount she spent. So 26 minus 14 is 12, right? 26 minus 14 is $12. So she saves $12 more than she spends. Okay. There's one more problem I want to go over with you. This one is one that looks a lot like one that you'll find on your test. So I wanted to make sure that you understand it. This is Pierre's family is driving 380 miles from San Francisco to Los Angeles. On the first day, they drive 30% of the distance. On the second day, they drive 50% of the distance. On the third day, they drive the remaining distance and arrive in Los Angeles. How many miles did Pierre's family drive each day? Write the number of miles in the correct box. So let's start with the first day right here. We're going to take our 380, and then the first day they drive 30% of the way. So we change 30% into 30 hundredths or 3/10. We're going to multiply this, move the decimal over once, and we get the first day 114 miles. Okay, so then on the second day they drive 50% of the distance. In my mind, I'm asking myself right now, is that of the beginning distance or is that of the distance that they still have to drive? So I may actually have to figure this out twice. I'm very thankful that they gave me some options here. If they're driving 50%, I can easily find 50% of this. It'd be half of it. So it'd be 50 plus 7. So 57. So good. It's not that. They're still talking about the 380 miles from the beginning. So this time we're going to take 50% of that 380 miles. And we're going to move our decimal over once. It's 190 miles on the second day. And then if we add 190 and 114, let's go ahead and add those. We'll see how many left on the third day. So far they went 304 and they want to go 380. So let me subtract that 304 and I'll get 76. So that will be my answer. 76 miles is how far they went on the third day. So we're just taking that 380 and doing 30% of it, 50% of it, and then the remaining distance you figure out using addition for the 2 days. You add the number of the 2 days, the distance that they went, and subtract from the total amount. You'll get 76 miles on the third day. Okay, so that is 5.5 on Think Central. You can find your assignment there.